Center for Oral Surgery is proud to be chosen as the top apnea and dental implant clinic for the Ask the Experts show. They offer the full scope of the specialty of oral and maxillofacial surgery, with emphasis on dental implants, TMJ surgery, snoring and sleep apnea surgery, facial implants, and jaw reconstruction. Are you looking for a way to treat your snoring or sleep apnea in Fort Lauderdale or Broward County? Whether you have a snore you can't ignore, or have been told that you stop breathing at night, you may be suffering from obstructive sleep apnea syndrome. If you suffer from snoring and sleep apnea in Fort Lauderdale, being deprived of oxygen while you sleep can result in poor sleep patterns, daytime tiredness, poor memory, irritability, and strain on the heart and lungs. At Sultan Center for Oral Facial Surgery, their commitment is to provide you with the finest, most current, and sophisticated treatment available. Call them today for a free consultation at 954-771-8772.
And we are back. We're live in studio. Hey, remember to catch the Ask the Experts show every Monday from 4 to 5, where we bring you the top experts in the areas of health, legal, and home improvement. Hey, we have in studio today with us Dr. Leslie Sultan of the Sultan Surgical Center. I wonder where they got the name for the center. Anyway, if you'd like to watch today's show live, you can watch us right now by going to Dr. Sultan's website at www.sultansurgicalcenter.com. We're going to talk about dental implants today. Now, Dr. Sultan also specializes in sleep apnea, but wow, you know, our audience is 45 plus.
And dental implants are so popular right now.
So let's get started by introducing you to Dr. Leslie Sultan. Thanks for coming in today.
Welcome to the show, Dr. Sultan.
Thanks for inviting me.
And he's so busy, so he's got time to come all the way over from Fort Lauderdale, all the way over here to Boca. Tell us about your background first.
I am originally from New York. I moved down to South Florida in 1989. I am a board-certified oral and maxillofacial surgeon.
What made you decide to go into that area?
I was originally an organic chemist. I worked for a company who developed many of the facial cosmetic products that many women use today, and I just enjoyed dealing with people instead of working on test tubes. So
that makes a lot of sense. And tell us a little bit about your practice, too.
My practice involves the diagnosis and treatment of all aspects of the face, mouth, and jaws, conditions, defects, diseases.
So you do TMJ, dental implants,
Correct.
sleep apnea?
I have a niche type practice. I enjoy doing certain areas, and I think after being in practice for 26 years, I'm allowed to pick
time.
Yes, it is. I'm allowed to pick and choose what I enjoy treating the most, and the areas that I do enjoy treating are reconstruction of the face, mouth, and jaws, in particular reconstruction of the oral cavity and the face with dental and facial implants, moving the jawbones around. The technique is called orthognathic surgery. We treat the jaw joint, or TMJ. We replace the jaw joint. Snoring and sleep apnea, of course, with an emphasis on computer-guided surgery.
Yes. So tell everybody how they could have teeth in a day.
That is the term for 2015. What I'd like to do is just start off with a question that many people ask. Why do dental implants work? You know, that's really the big question that people should really understand before they decide if dental implants are for them. Dental implants are really the breakthrough technology in the past 50 years for dentistry and for oral health in terms of tooth replacement. It was the process of placing dental implants started with an observation by an orthopedic surgeon who was studying bone healing in rabbits in the 1950s, where he was looking at how bones healed in pre-made fractures in rabbits, and this orthopedic surgeon by the name of Brannemark inserted a titanium tube into the bone to evaluate blood flow. And when it was time to remove those titanium cylinders, he couldn't get them out.
Oh, wow.
Kind of the way that Teflon was discovered by accident by an organic chemist. Only I would know that as an organic chemist.
These poor rabbits.
So anyway, Studies were done on how the bone stuck to the titanium. By the way, just about every dental implant used in the market today is made out of commercially pure titanium. But the process of osseointegration was studied and determined to be a chemical and a biological bond of titanium to natural human bone. So that's how dental implants work. Historically, on a conservative note, dental implants were always done in stages where the implant was placed in the bone, a period of healing would take place. If there wasn't enough bone, we'd place bone first, allow the bone to heal, then place the implants, then restore the implant. Sometimes treatment could take a year and a half, 2 years or more.
Wow.
We would get patients that had just really poor bone quality or quantity in both the upper and lower jaws. We considered them dental cripples, and some of them just weren't candidates for dental implants. But a technique was developed, and it's actually been around for about 20 years, although it's been much more popular in the last, I'd say, 7 or 8 years. And the common terms that we hear about are teeth in a day, all in 4, immediate smile. And it's an incredible technique where we're able to treat everything from start to finish. We can actually treat a patient where we can remove the patient's teeth, place dental implants, and place a fixed bridge that's secured on top of those implants within a 24-hour period of time.
So is that a temporary bridge or that's a permanent bridge?
That is a temporary bridge, which is replaced within approximately 6 months by a permanent bridge. But the fact that a patient can come in a Monday morning and have permanent teeth on
It's
Tuesday
amazing.
morning
That
is
is
amazing.
That
So how about
is-
swelling? Don't you swell from that? Because I know if
when
I've
the
had,
teeth are extracted.
Yeah, when the teeth are extracted. So how does that affect the dental implants, or does it?
Any surgery is going to cause swelling. Any surgery is going to have some discomfort, and I won't use the word pain, but there are always side effects, possible complications. What's amazing about this technique, and if it's done properly, is that there's not a lot of pain and there's not a lot of swelling. Patients are on a soft diet within 24 hours.
Wow, that's amazing. Tell everybody what dental implants actually are.
They are a breakthrough technology for the permanent replacement of teeth.
So you don't need dentures.
Well, we try, for example, the World Health Organization describes patients wearing dentures as a handicap. That just goes to show you how important edentulous is in 2015. So if we can provide a technique to give patients an alternative to rid themselves of wearing dentures.
Right, and that's all you hear people complain about are dentures because they move
Sure.
and your jaw changes, the bone structure changes, so you always have to have new dentures made. So it's really beneficial to have these teeth. And how long do they last for once you have the dental implants?
Well,
typically,
we can look at things 2 different ways. We can look at the surgical end, we can look at the restorative end. The way that dental implants, or the way the technology is done and the way it's advanced over the years, the 25 to 30-year survival rate of a single implant is in the mid to high 90 percentile range.
wow, that's amazing.
And again, it's not for every situation.
What if you do not have bone density? Can you still do the implants?
With the technology that we have today, with the techniques that we have, we can not only avoid bone grafting in many situations, but we can get around patients with osteopenia, osteoporosis.
So bone grafting is an option if you don't have good bone structure.
Well, again, it depends what we're trying to do. The typical, the traditional patient that we treat for patients with dental implants are the ones that have no teeth, or the ones that are going to be losing all of their teeth. In the past, many of these patients needed some type of bone grafting in order to prepare them for dental implants. With the techniques that we have today, especially with the all-on-4 technique, many of those patients do not need bone grafting. In the cases of really severe bone loss, especially in the upper jaw, there's a technique called a zygomatic implant or a cheekbone implant, where the implants, which are about 3 times longer than conventional implants, are housed directly into the cheekbones.
Wow.
And virtually any patient that is missing teeth is a candidate for implant surgery.
So you just mentioned that. What's the all-on-4 procedure?
The all-in-4 procedure is the teeth in a day procedure. The all-in-4 procedure was coined by one of the implant vendors and the manufacturers. That's their proprietary term. But again, it's a term that describes supporting a fixed or a screwed-in bridge on 4 implants.
Well, that's incredible because, I mean, I'm 60 years old and I've got friends that have lost their teeth. You know what? Should have listened to Mom when she said to brush your teeth and to floss.
And go for your regular dental visits.
Well, nothing's going to happen to me.
What's very interesting is this. In the past, traditionally, dentists always tried to save teeth. We do herodontics or do whatever we can to save teeth. Patients would go through a lot of time, expense, not get great results, and they'd end up in the same place a few years later. Many times we look at patients who have dentition or teeth that are in a stage where they are failing to a certain degree. And we give them options. We say, okay, we can do option A, which is where we can try to save the teeth, and we may not have it last for a certain period of time. Or we can be proactive and do the all-in-4 technique and give you exactly what you want in a very short period of time.
So why is that procedure so unique?
Well, it's unique because it cuts down treatment time, sometimes by up to a year.
Yes, you don't have to wait 6 months to a year.
Yeah. So are all patients candidates for that?
With the advent of the specially designed implants, not every dental implant can be used for this technique. When special implants are used, when the case is designed properly, when we use zygomatic implants for patients that don't have good bone and they're healthy enough to undergo dental implants, virtually every patient's a candidate.
Wow.
Well, we've got to go to break. When we come back, listen, because of our audience, our demographics, this is just the perfect show for them to listen to. We've got so many questions for you, Dr. Sultan. We're going to be back in 1 minute.
Very good.
The Sultan Center for Oral Surgery is proud to be chosen as the top apnea and dental implant clinic for the Ask the Experts show. They offer the full scope of the specialty of oral and maxillofacial surgery, with emphasis on dental implants, TMJ surgery, snoring and sleep apnea surgery, facial implants, and jaw reconstruction. Are you looking for a way to treat your snoring or sleep apnea in Fort Lauderdale or Broward County? Whether you have a snore you can't ignore, or have been told that you stop breathing at night, you may be suffering from obstructive sleep apnea syndrome. If you suffer from snoring and sleep apnea in Fort Lauderdale, being deprived of oxygen while you sleep can result in poor sleep patterns, daytime tiredness, poor memory, irritability, and strain on the heart and lungs. At Sultan Center for Oral Facial Surgery, their commitment is to provide you with the finest, most current, and sophisticated treatment available. Call them today for a free consultation at 954-771-8772.
And we're back. We're here
We
with
have so many questions for Dr. Sultan.
And you know what? It's like our show says. It's called Ask the Experts, and we definitely have the expert. If you're going to decide to have this procedure done, and I'm going to tell you something, it is so worth it. It will change your entire life. We have the best.
Yes.
Dr. Sultan.
So discuss your team concept and where, does everything get done in one facility? How does that work?
The concept of doing teeth in a day or all-in-4 is really something that needs to be done in a team where you have the surgical specialist, you have the restorative specialist, you have the laboratory technician, and you have the CT scanner. Okay. The case is treatment planned with the surgeon and the restorative dentist. The case is treatment planned on a computer in order to make sure that the implants are placed exactly where the bone is and where the final teeth are going to go. All that information gets transferred to the laboratory technician who makes the proper prosthesis or the appliance, and then everything is done in a sequence.
You make that in office, or do you send that out?
Well, we have labs that we work
premises?
with, but we also use outside labs. It really depends on who I work with when I'm doing a case like this.
You have an implant, zygoma?
Correct.
What is that?
He was just discussing that before. It's in the cheeks.
Yes.
A zygomatic implant is a specially designed implant. For example, the standard dental implant on average is about an inch in length. The average zygomatic implant is 3.5 to 4 inches in length. So that implant will actually bypass the sinus cavity of the upper jaw, and it goes from the palate or the roof of the mouth all the way to the cheekbone.
Wow. That sounds painful.
It's really not. Zygomatic implants were actually designed about 20 years ago for use in oral cancer patients that had part of their jawbones taken out.
Oh, wow.
And they had nothing to anchor prostheses or obturators. And that's how the zygomatic implants were developed. And then they were adapted to this all-on-4 technique. It's something that not the average dental implant surgeon performs. It needs to be done with specialized training. But when it's done in the proper situation, it takes patients that would not normally be a candidate for implants without extensive bone grafting to almost eliminating the need for bone grafting.
I thought about you last night.
Uh-oh.
This is this is a complete compliment. There's a show on TV called Botched. It's two plastic surgeons, but once in a while they'll have something around the mouth that has to be done. And I'm going, God, Dr. Sultan could do that.
They haven't called me yet.
They should.
Anyway, but because you were such a specialist in your field. And tell me, how long have you been doing this procedure for?
I have been trained as part of my specialty to place dental implants back from the mid 80s, which is really when implants started being used on a common basis. But the type of technology that we use today is different from what we were doing a few years ago. Everything keeps on changing on a daily, weekly basis. There are always new techniques that are coming out. There are new products that are coming out. And you really have to stay at the top of your game in order to be able to offer your patients the best that's available.
Are you an MD or a DDS?
I am a doctor of dental surgery. I went to dental school at University of Maryland. I did a surgical internship at University of Miami, Jackson Memorial Hospital, and then oral maxillofacial
He's got great
surgery
credentials.
It's amazing.
at Mount
credentials.
Sinai Medical Center in New York City.
And he's a nice guy, too.
I try.
So tell people.
And he's
the
single.
difference.
Why did I say that?
Don't start.
Stop thinking about it. No, but tell people the benefit, because a lot of people are walking around, they have dentures in their mouth.
Sure.
And they don't understand what the benefit is, because it's a major difference.
To give you an example, one of the slogans that we use to promote dental implants or this technique in our practice is, your first steak is on us. What we do is we make an offer to every patient that goes through this procedure, and we tell them that when you are finished, we will buy you your first steak dinner.
Wow, I understand that.
Yes.
And that you can appreciate what's involved in getting to that point, because many patients that are fully edentulous, that are wearing upper and lower dentures, are cripples. They're handicapped. They can't eat well. Their voice is affected. Their speech is affected. Their swallowing. Their self-confidence is affected. You have a patient who's lost their teeth and is wearing upper and lower dentures. They recently lost their spouse. They're on their first date. All of a sudden, the dentures come out. I mean, these are real-life situations.
It's embarrassing, yeah.
It can be very embarrassing. So it's definitely a confidence booster. And, personally, professionally.
So are these
It changes your life.
No,
I mean,
I understand
it really
that.
does.
So they actually, when you have the implants, is that removable? Do you have to take that out at night? Do you clean that? Like typically dentures, you would take them out and clean them. So
Well-
do they come out, or they just stay in your mouth permanently?
With the all-on-4 technique or the teeth in a day technique, this technique is specific for having a fixed or a screwed-in prosthesis.
No, so it screws into your bone, but does it screw into the actual
It screws
prosthesis?
into the implants. Now, there are patients that we treat that have dental implants that still have removable dentures that are supported by implants. Okay, but we always hope that those patients can later on convert to something that is more fixed, because the prosthesis or the restoration that's screwed onto the implants is much better tolerated than something that's removable.
Give everybody your phone number.
Yes.
Sure. Our office number is 954-771-8772. As a matter of fact, we are going to be running in the future a patient seminar.
Yes, that's right.
Tell everybody about that seminar.
Well, what we're going to be doing, we're going to probably be having it at one of the local hospitals close to my office, and we're going to be just in a very casual situation discussing the benefits of the teeth in a day concept. We'll be bringing in a couple of patients to discuss their experience and what they went through, and give a patient a chance to decide for themselves if that's the technique that's right for them.
How do you sign up?
Best thing to do is to give our office a call and speak to one of my staff, and they'll be glad to take your contact information. And once we have all the specific time and location, we'll give you a call back.
Tell
say
everybody. Oh, wait a
this.
second. I just want. Where is your office located?
We are at 4800 North Federal Highway, which is south of Commercial Boulevard on the east side of the street.
You know, I think it's really important if you're listening to the show right now and you have dentures, you've had them, well, I don't care if you just got them, if you've had them for a while. This is what Dr. Sultan does will change your life. It is a lifestyle change.
Yes.
It's like you said, you know, there's certain foods people can't eat. I'm sure it affects the digestion system when you have dentures. And it's just how you feel about yourself, too. Like you said, going out on the first date and you're worried about what if your dentures come. This is a lifestyle change, and you've got to look into it. This is just for a peace of mind with this, like the seminar you're doing, and give everybody your phone number again.
Sure, 954-771-8772. And for those people that are interested in emailing us for more information, you can do info@sultansurgicalcenter.com.
Or they could go to your website.
You got a great website.
Or
There's
a lot
so
of
much great
information,
information.
yes.
Correct. There's a lot of information about the all-in-4 technique. We do have some patient videos, testimonials about how patients have gone through their experience with this and other procedures.
So let me just ask you, how long have you been doing this procedure?
This particular procedure for about 8 years,
Wow.
but placing dental implants for, well, since the mid-'80s.
Okay, so has there been any modifications?
Sure.
Okay. Such as?
Well, again, the type of implants we use, we only use the best implant materials available. We do everything with computer-guided surgery to make
Which
sure.
I love. I think that's great.
Which makes sure the surgery is accurate, less chance of complications, cuts down on chances of error. Okay. We try to do everything in one location if we can. We try to provide patient financing to make it into a monthly payment plan. So patients.
I asked you before, do any of the insurances cover even a portion of it?
I have been fortunate in being able, at times, to get some medical insurances, some coverage, especially when patients have a medical necessity of having the procedure done in the hospital. Sometimes we can get medical insurance to support that as
yes.
And what is the maintenance like once the procedure's finished? How often do they have to come back and see you?
For good or for bad, dental implants are like teeth. They need to be cleaned, they need to be maintained. So we always recommend the patients come in 6 months to a year to the restorative dentist, and usually the prosthesis is removed, the implants are cleaned with a hygienist, and just like getting a regular tooth clean.
I think it's just so amazing. I want to touch before we leave because we're running out of time. You also are an expert when it comes to sleep apnea. You treat sleep apnea.
Yes.
And someone Rene knows really well, who's actually in the hospital right now, says, I haven't used my machine the whole time I'm here.
Tell my father, just because he's not using the machine doesn't mean he doesn't need it.
Correct.
Because he was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
You should be using it every day.
Every day. So now he thinks because he's in a rehabilitation facility, he didn't have to bring it with him, that now he could go home and do without it. But that's not the case.
Definitely not.
So he's listening to the show.
Tell him to start using the CPAP
You're
machine.
telling him now.
Right.
But you also, that's another one of your specialties is sleep apnea.
It's one of my great interests, yes.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, because I have sleep apnea, let me tell you something. If you, some of the things is snoring,
Correct.
always tired.
Correct.
There's so many things. If this,
Falling asleep behind the wheel.
I do that all the time anyway. But it's really important that they should come in and see you because they could be a candidate. They might have sleep apnea and not even know it.
One thing that we can do for our patients if they contact us is we can send them the snoring scale where you can fill out answers to subjective questions, and if you qualify, you should come in for an evaluation.
Give everybody your phone number. Our music is coming.
954-771-8772.
And your website address?
www.sultansurgicalcenter.com.
Perfect.
Man, it just goes by so fast.
It really
Thanks,
does.
Dr. Sultan.
Thanks
Thanks
Dr.
for
Sultan,
inviting
for
me.
coming in.
The
Thanks.
expert in dental implants. We'll see you next Monday at 4 o'clock for more Ask the Experts.
We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show with Steve O and Rene. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its